Okay, let's dive into this highly counterintuitive idea. It's this realization that our very own minds often act like our absolute biggest enemies. I mean, it sounds kind of wild, right? Why on earth would our own brain work against us? Well, to figure that out, we really have to take a hard look at what our mind is actually saying to us on a daily basis.
I'm not good enough. Have you ever just been sitting there, going about your day, and your brain suddenly hits you with a whisper, or maybe even a full-on shout that sounds exactly like this? We all have. We really need to normalize this harsh, universal, internal thought. Our minds are constantly spewing out difficult messages like this, or telling us things like, oh, I definitely can't do that. And while this might feel completely normal to experience, it comes with a massive, massive cost. Dwelling on this internal criticism absolutely robs us of our energy. It literally builds these invisible walls that stop us from pursuing our goals and going after our heart's deepest desires. Honestly, it just feels like straight up sabotage.
So, this naturally leads to a pretty big question. Is your mind actually trying to ruin your life? Look, if you are feeling frustrated with your own brain right now, that is incredibly valid. It certainly feels that way a lot of the time. But I want to quickly clarify something absolutely vital here. No, your mind isn't trying to destroy you. Actually, believe it or not, it's merely trying to make sense of your life. Your mind is constantly judging your experience in an attempt to figure out the world and to understand your specific role within it. It's looking out for you, just, in a highly misguided way.
Section 1, the mind's secret goal. Let's move to and see how this builds into how our brains actually make sense of it all. To truly grasp this, we have to remember that your brain is basically this ancient survival machine. It is constantly seeking safety and predictability. A coherent, logically sensible world feels significantly more predictable and therefore much safer to it. Now, if we compare ourselves to the rest of the animal kingdom, non-human animals understand the world through direct experience. They will actually do work just to produce signals that tell them they might get shocked. Why? Because knowing is always better than not knowing. But humans, we're different. We understand the world through symbolic thought. Because of our language and our complex reasoning, our symbolic mind takes that basic animal yearning for safety and predictability and puts it on absolute steroids.
And that brings us to the core rule of human symbolic thought. Anything can be related to anything in any way. This one simple rule is exactly what makes our symbolic thought process a phenomenal, creative superpower. It's the reason we can build skyscrapers, write symphonies, and imagine futures that have literally never existed. But, simultaneously, this exact same rule is a complete and total disaster for our peace of mind. Let me show you exactly what I mean with a fun little mental exercise. So, how is a glass the father of a chapstick? I want you to mentally participate in this bizarre thought experiment with me for just a second. Look around your room right now, or just picture those two completely unrelated objects, a drinking glass and a tube of chopstick. How could the glass possibly be the father of the chapstick? Your brain is instantly working, isn't it? You are automatically trying to link these completely unrelated objects together.
And this brilliantly illustrates a story from Dr. Stephen C. Hayes. He actually did this exact experiment while he was a guest on a podcast. He saw a glass and a chopstick sitting on his desk and asked the host that exact question. Instantly, the host replied, well, they mixed the ingredients for the chopstick in the glass. Then Dr. Hayes asked him to do it in reverse. Without missing a beat, the host said they drew out the plan for making the glass on paper using the chopstick. It's wild. Our human minds will instantly, automatically build these creative, logical connections right out of thin air. It is a wonderful parlor trick, but when you apply that to our self-worth, yeah, it's a nightmare.
Section 2. Meet the Dictator Within, also known as riding the wild tiger. Because of this relentless connecting and judging our brains do, we inevitably meet this dictator within. Dr. Hayes describes the mind as a wild tiger, and instead of taming it, what do? We get stuck trying to ride the thing. We mistake our mind's harsh judgments for our actual direct experience. We turn passing thoughts into strict commands. Naturally, when our mind attacks us, our first instinct is to fight back, right? We try to counter the negativity by protesting, wait, but I am good enough. We really think we can win the debate, but remember that rule, anything can be related to anything. Because of that, your mind will instantly counter every single point you make, trapping you in a completely fruitless argument.
So the crucial point is understanding a concept called cognitive fusion. This is when you mistake your mind's judgments for direct experience and you turn passing thoughts into commands to either resist or obey. It leads to this constant, exhausting mental argument. This psychological trap is exactly what underlies a massive range of our mental struggles, including anxiety and depression. Fusion doesn't give us real understanding, and it certainly doesn't keep us safe. Literally, all it gives us is a constant, draining mental war.
Section 3, How to Get Unstuck. Let's talk about finding some actual peace of mind.
Okay, we need to move from just understanding this psychological problem to a tangible, practical solution. In his book, A Liberated Mind, Dr. Hayes offers a brilliant way to disentangle ourselves from these suffocating thoughts so we can find what he calls functional coherence. Basically, a peace of mind based on what actually works through real experience. To get there, he recommends this highly practical 3-minute pen and paper exercise. For minute 1, you simply give your mind free rein and write down whatever chaotic thoughts emerge. Just let it rip. Then, in minute 2, you try to judge those thoughts. You criticize them and evaluate if they are true or correct. But pay close attention here. Step 2 is actually a trap. When you do this, you're going to notice the noise in your head actually gets louder. You get pulled deeper into the argument. That right there, that is cognitive fusion in action. The real magic happens in step 3. For the final minute, you listen to your thoughts, but purely with curiosity and amusement.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the massive mindset shift it requires. Step 3 works because you imagine your thoughts are literally just the voices of first graders. Think about it. If you were standing in a room full of quarreling 6-year-olds, you wouldn't take their arguments personally, right? You'd probably just adopt a posture of amusement. Well, by looking at the squabbling voices in your head the exact same way, you free yourself. You completely stop arguing. You just chronicle what the kids are saying, and suddenly you gain the freedom to pluck out only the thoughts that are actually useful to you, and you can just smile and ignore the rest of the noise.
Which brings us to our final, incredibly powerful question for this explainer. Once you are no longer endlessly arguing with the dictator within, you can simply look at any thought your brain produces and ask yourself, does taking action based on this thought enrich my life? If the answer is yes, great, use it, run with it. But if the answer is no, if the thought is just a grumpy first grader yelling, I'm not smart enough, you don't have to fight it anymore. You just take a step back, observe it with some detached curiosity, and let it go. So, the next time your mind starts acting up and throwing a tantrum, I challenge you. Are you going to argue with the dictator, or will you just smile at the first grader?